Good morning. Welcome back to Fit Body Secrets, where my mission is to bring you guys inspiration, motivation, and a ton of tips to help you guys on your fitness, your health, your longevity, and of course, your short-term fat loss journey. I'm going to put that at the end because y'all know fat loss is a temporary phase, right? I just want to make sure I make that very, very clear for all of my listeners. I'm going to go ahead and make sure that I'm live on Instagram as well. And there I am. I see my face. Hopefully you guys can all hear me. If you guys are listening and you are watching me and you can't hear me talk, please always make sure that you let me know. Good morning. I see some make sure I can get myself on there. There we go. Noise there. We're gonna turn that off. We don't want to be having echoing going on. All right, guys. So it is December 9th. We are closing out 2025. How is everyone feeling about 2025? And I'm going to be honest, every year is full of ups and downs, but I'm going to say I am very grateful that 2025 has been a complete 180 from my 2024. And I see nothing but progress coming in the years to come, which is awesome for me as I just turned 40 years old. And everybody says it goes all downhill after 40. But I'll be honest, between the ages of 38 and 40, I was in a complete place of chaos. And if you would ask me if life was going to get any better, I don't know how I would have answered that because I felt like I was at the bottom of my life. It was crazy. But here I am and I'm going strong and I am looking forward to helping you guys finish out 2025 in the best way possible to leave you with the best plan for 2026. And the reason I thought that I would talk about this today is because I feel like there is three types of people this type of year or this time of year and we all kind of can fall into one of these buckets more so than the other, but maybe have fallen into different ones based on the day or based how we feel. Type 1, I could also put this person as type A. These are my women who already have a system. They know what they're doing. They know what works. They're really not phased by the holiday hustle. There maybe is a few more social meals here and there. They're consistent in the gym. They don't really feel like they need to start over a new program. They're already very much settled into habits and lifestyle. And it's really just navigating the fact that maybe the month of December has a few more social meals, maybe a little bit more travel. So a couple of weeks where maybe you miss a couple of training days. But honestly, there's not really a big overhaul in January. It's more so about, I can breathe again. I can get back to my normal routine. I don't have to worry about these XYZ things popping up. And it's just kind of like getting more dialed in on what they're already doing. There's not really a big overhaul that needs to happen. Obviously, we can all make improvements in areas of our life. So maybe, my type A women are thinking of things that they want to improve on in 2026. And I should also say, guys, I am also not anti New Year's resolution. Why I'm talking about all this is I think that the new year is a great time to it's not even about it being a new year. It's the end of a season and kind of like an opening to where maybe you do have a clear spot to maybe work on some things for yourself as things settle back in. So I just wanted to say that first and foremost. But a lot of my women are going to fall into that type A. They're already kind of doing a lot of things. Maybe they need to dial some things in. And maybe, you're somebody that knows what works, but you can't figure out why it's not working for you or why things have stalled out. And maybe that, you need to make some changes in the new year. But for the most part, your systems are in place. You kind of know it's just about getting back into routine. Now there's the second type, and I don't even know what to type this person because I called that person type A. I'm going to call this person type F. And I'm sorry if this is you. I'm going to call you type F. You get an F for effort. This type of person is, and there's nothing wrong with this, by the way. You're just not in the camp of right now, I want to make changes. This person is neutral. All right. This person is, this woman is going through life. She's got commitment. She's got other things. Maybe you're not really thrilled with your body composition, or your habits or what you're doing in life. But at this point, it's also not so uncomfortable that it's making you want to change, And what comes to my mind is I remember a client who had started my Jumpstart, and she was looking at signing up for one-on-one coaching. And she's like, honestly, I just can't justify this for aesthetic reasons. Like, I can't justify making an investment just to like drop 5 pounds. And I'm like, for sure, like totally not worth it. But it's just like where you're at in life, you're comfortable enough to stay the same. There's nothing wrong with that. I will say for this, that sometimes we coast and coast and coast until we're forced to make a change. And I'm going to talk about a different type of person, which I think some of you guys might be hearing this and be like, that's me, but it's really not you. Okay. This person is truly just like, I'm not really ready to make change. I'm just like not looking at the new year like anything's going to be different. Everything is going to be pretty much the same. I'm not looking to do anything different. I'm just happy with the way things are in my life, even if I'm not super happy with my body composition or my health or my habits. I just don't really feel like changing them right now. And that's okay. Like I said, you're getting an F for effort because there's no change, but that's okay. You're not looking to go to school to get better at yourself right now. Now, type 3 is where a lot of you guys fall into play. And this is where I think those of you guys listening are going to hear this and be like, yep, that's me. So a lot of you guys that are listening to me are either going to fall into the first type 1, or this type 3. And this is really who this episode is for. Okay. So, and maybe this is kind of like a type 1, you have a lot of those main things dialed in, but there's some things you need to make changes on. And maybe you're waiting until the new year because you think it's going to be a little bit easier. This is what today's episode is for. So type 3 women, here you are. All right. You need to make changes. So you're not type 2. Like you're like, nope, I know I'm not comfortable right now, but I'm actually ready to do something about it. I know I need to do something to change it. Okay. You also might have a ton of PTSD from past attempts. Okay. Maybe it's like previous years of doing the new year, new you thing. Maybe it's previous challenges. Maybe it's previous times you've lost weight. Whatever you've done in the past, you have lots of reps built up in the bank of things that didn't work. A lot of beliefs you have about yourself, about your lack of consistency, how you start things and you don't finish them. You feel like a constant failure. Maybe you question, is it like my hormones, my metabolism? Like, what should I be doing? Maybe you already feel the overwhelm and confusion of what you should be doing right now. All right. Maybe you're like really stressed about like how hard you have to go in order to get the results to happen. And that's kind of scary. And you're like, I just don't really want to start that right now. Like, you're in this place of like knowing that this month isn't the month where you want to jump in, but you're planning on jumping into something in the new year. And I want to really help you guys out today, whether you are the type A or the type 3, or I'll call it type 1 and type 3, or you're the type 2 and you're like, you know what? Let me hear her out because maybe I'm overthinking this change thing. This can really help all of you guys. But for those of you guys that are either well established in the fitness world and you know that there's some things lacking and you're wanting to change, or you know that things are really lacking and you got to dial things back in and you're looking to overhaul things in the new year, I want to help you guys get some direction on things you can be taking action on right now, as in today, as in when you're listening to this, you can hear what I'm saying and start thinking about these things today, because it's going to make everything so much easier for you in the new year and along with in years to come. Because guess what? A lot of my clients that are working with me, what they are going through this last couple of weeks and into the final weeks of the month is obviously still working towards their goals, but thinking about in a year from now when they're no longer working with me, like what does their life look like? How are they going to be thinking about food? How are they going to be acting around food? What decisions are they going to be making? We are ingraining a plan that fits their lifestyle, their core values, and their things that they want to be able to enjoy, which one of them is enjoying being confident in their body. So we are doing that right now as we speak. I even like, gratefully, I've had 4 or 5 clients sign up in the last 2 weeks, which has been awesome for me to see, because notoriously my most successful clients do start at the end of the year, really anywhere between like September and December. or usually again around April or May. And I think that that's because I am able to take them through the most difficult times of the year, which is summertime, less structure, wintertime, more social stuff. Okay. So, regardless, today, whichever type of these people you're identifying with right now, maybe it's a combination of all three. You don't have to pigeon yourself in. This is not about labeling you, but it's just giving you an idea of understanding that you're probably in some place of contemplating doing some things differently in the new year, or like are avoiding it because the change is uncomfortable and you don't really want to change it. So let's talk about some things that you could be doing right now and might already be doing. So if you are my type A girl, my type 1, you might already be doing a lot of these things. So I'm going to encourage you to keep checking the boxes and reminding yourself that it's okay to not always be working towards a goal, that sometimes enjoying the progress that you've been making is great, and taking this time to just enjoy the December month and know that you're going to get picking back up on new goals in the new year is fun. Okay. Or you're the type 3 person and you're like, I need to start getting ahead of the game. I want to go into the new year with a plan. Now is the time to start taking action on laying the prerequisites for the plan. Okay. So number one, okay, this is a big one because it's one that you can all do. There's no reason why we cannot do this one thing. Setting a daily movement window. All right. I don't care how chaotic your schedule is. We all do a lot of the same things at the same times every single day. Every single day. While there might be things that pop up, you guys pretty much know where you're going to be on a regular basis. This is not, I'm going to work out every single day in the gym, or I'm going to be doing high intensity training every single day, or I'm going to do this every single day. It's literally picking a time of the day when your body gets movement, regardless of if you are taking a rest day or not taking a rest day. This is my time to move. And for me, that's first thing in the morning. For me, I know if I get it done early in the morning, I feel much better about my day. I'm going to make better decisions throughout my day. So picking a time, and maybe that is like, this is my training hour. On the days you're not training, make that movement time. Maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe, God forbid, it's actually doing a little bit of stretching. I am notorious for avoiding this. So I'm going to put myself in that. But when you make movement a habit, and it has a place on your schedule, it's no longer trying to fit it in. And you're also being realistic about things, right? So I think a lot of people are like, I'm going to hit the gym 6 to 7 days a week. I'm like, why? When you know that your seasons don't really allow for that. Wouldn't it be better than, rather than having 14 workouts in a row in January, that you actually commit to 12 workouts a month over the course of the next 12 months? A lot more consistency can be built that way, right? So, and I also like to think about training in sessions rather than always thinking about them in days. Like training sessions, like, so maybe you are somebody that has a really busy schedule. Maybe you are like doing double sessions Monday, Wednesday, and Friday because it's easier for you those days. And maybe the other days you're taking rest days. You're going to get the same benefits from that. Like there's so many things you guys can be doing now. Like so thinking about movement windows, it might be, all right, I'm going to start carving out first thing in the morning for a walk because I hit the gym in the afternoon. Like think about how much more benefit that could create for you in the new year. All right. So we're looking for, and I'm not telling you all you have to double up on your sessions. I'm just saying, thinking about overall consistency and the number of sessions over the number of days. All right. So really thinking about what time of day you like to be moving. Number 2, this is also very helpful year round, but even more so this time of year. Look ahead at the next month, but also the next 3 or 4 months for social engagements, vacations, anything you have going on that you already know about. So like, why say a couple of months? Because maybe you have a spring break cruise planned or a vacation planned for, mid-January, a ski trip or something like that. Start thinking ahead to the times where you know that your routine is going to be thrown off. All right. So in the month of December, maybe you have a cookie party. Maybe it's a Christmas party with work. And then you have Christmas Eve and Christmas Day. And maybe you have a New Year's Eve party. Whatever your like party priorities are. Think about your kids' events. If there's like a kids, whatever, like nutcracker, whatever. Whatever. I can't think of what I'm thinking of. Play or whatever. I can't think of the word. I can't think of the word right now. But whenever you have you have rehearsals for why can't I think of what this is called? Not an event. I don't know. A show. I can't think of the name of it, but like, kids have events. Kids have all these fun little holiday shows. Whatever it is, you've got these things coming up on your schedule. Write them down, because guess what? When you start thinking right now about, I've got so many holiday things going on, and you're like, I just can't commit to anything. It's like so ridiculous, because Thanksgiving was already almost 2 weeks ago. And here we are. We have like 2 weeks until Christmas. Like, think about all the time you're losing with routine by being so far in the future or in the past. So it's like, stop overthinking shit and like just really look at what things you have going on and staying consistent between them. So whatever you got going on, usually the planned events are not the issue. It's the unplanned random snacks that matter most. So for instance, you have these holiday parties and all this stuff. The food you eat on these days doesn't really matter that much. But if you're not dialing in your nutrition because you're stressed about these events and you're just like randomly snacking throughout the day, you're not getting enough protein in because you're just like, oh, whatever, I'll start on Monday or I'll start in the new year. Like, you're missing out on all these opportunities, and you're probably over consuming calories, not doing the things that you need to be doing in the moments when they matter more. So that's not going to change in January. So that's why I'm like, take the time, figure out your planned meals or your planned social events, and call it a day. Now you have consistency because you don't have to think about that stuff. All right. Number 3, here's another big one. And I'm going to start by saying, I am not a meal prepper. Okay. But I do suggest for most people having 1 or 2 days a week where they are intentionally prepping food, or they have a plan. So when I say I'm not really a meal prepper, I'm a food prepper. So usually twice a week, I'm prepping up simple things like some meat, some potatoes, some rice, some chicken, things that if I need to make a meal, it's 5 minutes. If I needed to throw something in a Tupperware, I could throw it in a Tupperware and walk out the door. Like, it's not a big deal. My meals are going to take me 5 minutes or less. If I wanted to have that like feeling of control and systems and all that stuff, now's the time to start dialing that stuff in. And it's also time to realize maybe that's not you. Maybe you're sitting here being like, I'm going to get back into meal prep in January. And you start thinking about that and it's causing overwhelm. Meal prep in January is probably not the right strategy for you, because guess what? If it feels too hard to do now, it's not going to last in the new year. All right. So like, your meal prep strategy needs to fit in the busiest seasons of your life. Does that mean you might not some weeks take a little bit more time on meal prep because you want to try a new recipe? Go for it. But other times it's meals on repeat, keeping things simple, not overthinking things. That's really the way it is. And this time of year it's more important that your meals are easy. Like, why are we overthinking what we're cooking when you know what works? Like, don't try and change things up this time of year. Some things that really help me is, like I said, food prep, cooking a couple of proteins. I love the air fryer. I love roasting. I love sauteing some ground beef. Love grilling if you have a grill. Roast some potatoes, boil some rice or some pasta, salad kits, frozen veggies. Those are all things. Then also looking at things you don't have to cook. Fruit doesn't require any cooking. Whole grain wraps, breads, oats requires very little cooking. Yogurt, cottage cheese, those things are easy to throw into bowls and create simple meals. It should not be this hard thing. And I'll be honest, those of you guys that are like, that sounds so boring. All right. Well, that's also why like you're overwhelmed all the time. So again, you can choose one of 2 things. You can start looking at some different recipes and start experimenting with different recipes and start building a rotation, which is what I would suggest if you're that person that doesn't want to eat like that, or start building simplicity. One of the 2, but start taking action now. And if you are someone that wants to get into meal prep, maybe you are just prepping one meal for a couple of weeks. You're like, all right, I'm going to prep this dish for my lunches for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever it is. And I have a couple of resources if you guys want, places that I look for recipes if you want, because like I said, I'm simple, but nobody else, not everybody is simple, right? Number 4, and I love this. This goes into my meal prep. Low energy meals. So as I already kind of mentioned, like you need to think of, okay, maybe you are somebody that normally has plenty of time to prep and do all this fun recipe cooking stuff. You also need some low energy meals that don't require a bunch of thinking. So like learning like what things you can pick up at the grocery store that don't require any cooking, like deli meat, pre-cooked chicken, frozen bags of rice, all that stuff that you can just throw in, no brain power. Looking for different snack products that you enjoy, and kind of coming up with a cadence to those low prep things, right? And these are all kind of like some food strategy things here as we're getting into away from movement. Number 5 is as we're planning meals, which is common. A lot of you guys don't struggle so much with meals. It's the in between meals. It's okay, what do I have when I have a sweet craving or a salty craving? Why are we only prepping meals? In fact, I would bet you would benefit more from keeping your meals simple, the basics of the meals like chicken, veggie, rice, potato, whole grains, whatever it is, and then actually spending some time doing some dessert and snack prep. Like that's where people go wrong, right? It's I'm craving something sweet, I'm craving something salty. Maybe doing some baking. While this year you're baking and you're cooking all of these fancy recipes for other people, maybe you're coming up with a few foolproof, easy like desserts that you can make on repeat for when you're getting a craving, like coming up with a couple of different snacks. Now is the time to experiment because guess what? I've also said nothing so far about controlling calories or dialing in macros and all that stuff. So looking at building some like higher protein balanced meals and snacks that you enjoy without the focus on, is this going to be too much fat or too much carbs or too much protein or not enough protein? Like actually getting some ideas of what works for you, because it's going to make it that much easier when you dial things in the new year. We will start to talk about that. All right. So number 6, all right, we got 2 more things to go over. And again, I want to start by saying this is a no pressure tip. This is truly for those of you guys that are like, I know I'm going to be ready to hit it hard on fat loss in the new year and locking things in, or for building muscle, whatever it is. Or maybe it's just for training and performance because we're getting ready to go into the preseason for the CrossFit Open. Start tracking your food. Start tracking your food. I did not say track macros. I said track your food. All right. So we are not looking at calorie targets. We are not looking at macro targets. We are literally building awareness. If you notice that you're deficient on some things, maybe you're like adding a little bit more in, but we're not looking at subtracting right now. All right. So most women sabotage their goals because they are totally unaware of how many calories they're consuming. Like I truly want you to log the dirty days and the clean days. Why? Because you get to see a better overall picture of your weekly average calorie intake. And now, rather than going to unrealistic online calculators to calculate your macros, you have a better understanding of why that has been failing you. Okay, you can see where you're eating right now and not think that you have to go to what that target is saying. We can make some deliberate changes based on what you're currently consuming and what your goals are. This is no pressure. There is no messing up. There is no perfection. It's literally get a ballpark figure of what your body is taking in. Now, when I say this, there is one thing I will say about this. You should be doing it 7 days a week, with maybe if there's like a holiday meal, like Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, don't stress about tracking that. But the majority of your weeks from now until New Year's, which is 3 weeks from now, actually get the data. Like get a good, don't fall off on Friday and don't track Friday through Sunday. Like it's tracking Friday, Saturday, and Sunday, but maybe Saturday night you have a work party that you don't track. That's okay. All right. So like, let's actually dial in how much you're consuming, because that's going to make life so much easier for you in the new year. In fact, all of my clients, I give them macro ranges, but their first week is like, hey, let's just see how much you're currently eating. Don't force these numbers. This is an estimation of where I think we're going to be starting you at, but I want to see how far off I am from what you're currently consuming. So this is literally the data that you need, the data that actually matters. Y'all spend so much money on freaking lab work and oh my gosh, I could go off on a tangent. I had woman that I spoke to yesterday, she could literally tell me her lab work, her HRV, her resting metabolic rate, her VO2 max, her DEXA scan, everything, but like had no idea how much her body needed to be eating to fuel herself. Had no idea how, like, intuitively what she needed, like what her body was telling her. Like, so actually track without perfection. Like, this is your time to stop sabotaging yourself and actually learn what your body actually needs. Okay. Number 7, dialing in meal timing, frequency, and structure. Okay, this is another thing you can start right now. All right, so does not require you to start an overhaul. It's literally just knowing I find myself hungry at these times of the day. And if you're somebody that's like, yeah, I know that I'm not eating enough throughout the day and I'm literally eating 1 or 2 meals a day. Now is the time to maybe start, like working on actually building some structure to your plan. It doesn't have to be you're eating big meals now. If you're like, Cheryl, that's overwhelming. I don't have time to start cooking and eating all that food. It's as simply as like, I know I start getting food noise at 10 a.m. And it's not white knuckling your way to lunch. It's let me have an apple. Let me have an ounce of nuts, like whatever it is. Let me have a protein bar. It's let me have a yogurt. You're getting something in. I'm leaving I'm leaving for work in the morning and I don't have time to eat, but I'm going to have a protein smoothie on the way out. I'm going to do something to make sure I'm getting consistency built into my plan and starting to get ahead of your appetite, watching out for the grazing. All right. Like this BLT word is something that always goes through my head, the bites, licks, and taste, but it really is, it's grazing. Stop grazing. All right. Let's break the grazing habit right now of like, oh, it's time for dinner, but like, I'm not ready cooking dinner. It's like, just stop the grazing, like actually plan snacks. All right. Let's plan things in and think about your appetite. When you're getting hungry, when your energy is dropping, when you're getting cravings. It's going to make transitioning into fat loss so much easier because guess what? This is one of the habits that keeps people stuck. And it's also one of the habits that makes people feel like food tracking is so hard because they're trying to remember and recall every little thing. So these things you can do right now will make setting yourself up for a successful fat loss phase in January so much easier. All right. So actually taking the time now to build the foundation so that when you go into the new year and you want to start losing fat, you're already ahead of the game. And guess what the bonus is? You're probably going to notice that you don't have any issues feeling like you gained 5 or 7 pounds over the next 3 weeks. All right. So those are the main things. The biggest takeaway is that your January reset should not be a complete overhaul. If you do this the right way, and if you apply these things, when you go into January, you might be fine tuning some things like maybe the amounts, maybe you're using a food scale more consistently. Maybe you're not eating out as much, maybe you're getting into the gym more frequently, not just doing easy walks, but you're building the consistency with the basics now, which are what you need for the long haul. The fat loss phase is a small piece of the picture, and it should be here's what your January plan should be. If you truly want to lose fat, all right, your January plan should be as simple as all I have to do is adjust the amounts of food I'm eating. It should literally be that easy. That is the only thing you should have to do in January. And if you do all of these things, that is all you will have to do in January. Like, how much easier is that? Now, going back into the PTSD thing, this is where you have likely done yourself wrong in the past. All right. So if in the past you have only ever, you are already thinking about going back to the calories and macros you had from 2 years ago, likely not the right plan. You need to build a plan that works with your body, not against it. Your body is not the same. In fact, I am 40 years old and I've been doing a lot of talking about women over 35 because women over 35 are in my heart as to who I want to help, because you ladies are the ones that have done this stuff over and over and over again. And now it's just not working the same. And your body composition is changing and nothing seems to work anymore. And it can be as simple as like dialing in calories and macros the right way if you approach this the right way. If you lay this foundation, it becomes easy. It should not be this drastic change. Okay. So a couple of things that I want to leave you guys with today. Number one is if you are looking to get started in the new year and you are interested in working with myself or one of the members of my team, definitely feel comfortable reaching out to me. We can kind of talk about what building a plan would look like for you. This is a no pressure call. Just want to get to know you, your goals, explain to you a little bit about how I do things. If you want that, there'll be a link for that in my show notes. Number two is if you're hearing these things and you're like, all right, I'm ready to start doing these things, and you want a checklist and some accountability to get started with this stuff now, also shoot me a message, because I will do a little bit of an accountability challenge going into the new year to help you guys get set up for success. And don't ever mind doing whatever I can to help you guys be a little bit more successful with taking the next step for yourself. So it's Tuesday. I am like, whatever, it's Tuesday. I didn't even plan on doing that, but I'm like, you know what? That might actually be really helpful for somebody out there. So if somebody out there can benefit from that, let me know. I'm willing to start it today. So it's not something that takes a lot of time on me. It's a matter of just being there to hold you guys accountable. So that's what I got for today. Do you guys have any nutrition questions, training questions, anything like that? Yes, Kristen, you should be able to enjoy the month and not feel stressed about enjoying some of the holiday food. Good morning, Proof of Life, Jalen. Interesting name. Lots of familiar faces on here. Anybody have any questions? Training, nutrition, life, New Year's. Any updates? No? All right. Well, then, if nobody has any questions, I am going to sign off. Oh, one more thing. Oh, by the way, one more thing. I am going to be hosting a event next weekend. It is the Saturday and Sunday. I think it's the 17th and the 18th. I had put a poll out on my Instagram, and you guys had all voted for Saturday and Sunday. I am going to be going over how to essentially figure out what you should be consuming, calories, macros, looking at food quality, dialing things in for women in that 35 plus club. Those of you guys that are primarily CrossFitters, but if you are hitting the gym hard, you're like trying to build muscle, you're trying to get fitter, you want to age better. All right, I'm going to be going over some things that are really key for you guys when you're dialing in your food, knowing how much you should be eating, all of that stuff next weekend. It is going to be a 2-day workshop because I want to make sure I have plenty of time to cover things and not overwhelm you guys. So I will be putting the sign up for that out on Friday. And if you guys have any questions about it, you can shoot me over a message, or if you guys have any questions in general, always shoot me a message. I love connecting with you guys. So until the next episode, I will talk to you all later. Bye.